Welcome to Learnit Training. The exercise files for today's course are located in the video description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Welcome to the Power BI Intro to Data Analysis series. This is a 3-part series designed to help you get started with Power BI and develop your data analysis skills. Over the course of these 3 videos, we'll cover everything you need to know to begin transforming your data into actionable insights. In Part 1, Getting Started with Power BI, we'll explore the Power BI interface, learn how to connect the various data sources, and cover essential data transformations and cleaning techniques. Finally, we'll create a data model to set the foundation for your reports. In Part 2, Data Visualization and Reporting, we'll dive into data visualization. We'll learn how to create and customize various types of visuals, use advanced visualization techniques like slicers and filters, and design interactive reports that are both informative and engaging. In Part 3, Advanced Analysis and Sharing Insights, we'll tackle advanced analysis, we'll cover basics of DAX for advanced calculations, use of time intelligence functions to analyze data over time, and explore AI-driven insights and forecasting. Finally, we'll learn how to publish reports and share your insights with others. By the end of this series, you have a pretty good understanding of Power BI and the skills that you'll need to start analyzing data effectively. Let's go ahead and get started here.
Looking to support our channel and get a great deal? Become a member today to unlock ad-free videos. That's right, your favorite courses without a single ad. Interested in a specific video? Purchase one of our ad-free courses individually. Looking for even more? Gain access to exams, certificates, and exclusive content at LearnitAnytime.com. More information can be found in the video description below.
Welcome to the Power BI interface section. In this part, we'll explore the key components of Power BI Desktop's interface to help you navigate and use it effectively. Let's begin by looking at the Start screen here. When you open the Power BI Desktop, you'll see the Start screen. Here you can open recent files, start new reports, or get data from various sources. This is your launching point for all of your Power BI projects. I'll go into a blank report here. First, let's explore the report view. This is where you'll spend most of your time creating and editing your reports. The canvas in the center is where you'll add various visuals, such as bar charts, line charts, pie charts, to represent your data. On the right-hand side here, you currently have the Visualizations pane that's open. This allows you to choose and customize your visuals and the fields where you can drag and drop fields into your report. The report view is designed to be intuitive, making it easy to build and format your reports. Next, we have the table view. This view displays your data in tabular format, similar to a spreadsheet, that allows you to inspect your tables and columns in detail. You can perform basic transformations here, such as renaming columns or changing data types to ensure your data is clean and well-structured. Below, we have the model view. In this view, we'll manage the relationships between tables. Visualizing these relationships helps you understand how your tables connect and interact, which is crucial for accurate data analysis. You can create, modify, and delete relationships by dragging and dropping fields between tables. Last, we have the DAX query editor. From here, we can run and test queries and add them to our model. Now, let's talk the ribbon. The ribbon contains various tools and commands organized into tabs like Home, Inserting, Modeling, and View. The Home tab includes essential functions such as getting data, transforming data, and publishing your report. The Insert tab allows you to add different elements to your report, like visuals, text boxes, and images. The Modeling tab offers tools for managing relationships and creating calculations. The View tab lets you customize the appearance of your report workspace. And last, the Optimize tab here allows you to refresh, pause visuals, perform the analysis, and even apply all the slicers if need be. There also is a Help tab, which provides any documentation for the developers here, and guided videos and learning. On the right-hand side here, I have Fields pane. The Fields panes list all the tables and fields available in the data model. You can drag fields into the canvas to create visuals. The Visualization panes allows me to select the visuals, and the Filters pane here allows me to use this area to filter with any of the fields that I've added and imported. To recap, we've explored the report view, data view, the model view, the DAX query view, the ribbon, the fields pane, the visualizations pane, the data pane. In the next section, we'll dive into connecting various data sources, which is the first step in building your Power BI reports. Stay tuned. Let's start by exploring the different data sources you can connect to in Power BI. If you click on the Get Data button in the ribbon, you'll see a list of available data sources. You'll notice that Power BI supports a wide variety of data sources, including Excel workbooks, SQL Server, web data, and many others. For this tutorial, we'll focus on importing data from an Excel file. This Excel file can be found in the description of the video. Once we click on the Excel option and the Get Data menu, and we navigate and select the Excel file, we're going to end up seeing a preview of the data here. In this preview, I have the top showing me tables that are found inside the Excel workbook. And on the bottom here, I can see that I have worksheets, which are named the same as the tables, except the tables have a T in front. I can select the table to see a preview of them. It looks like we have a customer table. I can select the products table to see a preview of them. And I can select the sales table here, which if I look closely, I can see that there are some duplicate ID numbers in the sales ID. That is definitely something we're going to have to fix. I can go ahead and select these three tables and choose to load them in. Here in the data pane, I can see that the three tables have been loaded, and I now have access to the fields that are available within that Excel sheet to use in my Power BI report. Connecting to other data sources is just as easy. Now, if I head over to the table view, I can see a preview of these tables. And if I head over to the model view, I can see that Power BI has automatically detected the relationship between the tables. I can see it found a one and many relationship from customers in the customer table, the customer ID, and the customer ID in T sales. And it's probably done the same with the product IDs from T products and T sales. Once the data is loaded in, I can see here in my data pane, I have T customers, T products, and T sales. The next step is to start cleaning and transforming the data using the Power Query Editor. Now we can do that from the Home tab. If I hover up to the Home tab inside the ribbon, I can see that there's a command group called Queries. And from there, I have the option to select Transform Data. When I click on the drop-down, this allows me to use Power Query to connect, prepare, and transform the data. This will pull up a secondary window. This is my Power Query window. Now, in fact, if I look behind the Power Query window, I still have the Power BI desktop app right behind it. So let's spend some time talking about the Power Query window because it's very similar to what we've just discovered in Power BI. We still have a ribbon. There's a different set of tabs this time, though. You have the Home tab, Transform, Add Column, View, Tools, and Help. I'm also noticing on the left-hand side, I can see there's a Queries window. It looks like this can be expanded and collapsed, so it can be made bigger and smaller. And on the right-hand side, I have the Query Settings pane, which also looks like it can be closed as well. I can see when I click on each of these tables, it's going to show me a preview of the data, and I have an option to change the data types if I need to. The top header row that shows the A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, these are the specific data types that we have in Power Query. It looks like it's auto-detected them for the tables that we brought in. How Power Query works, it's everything that we do to the datasets end up showing up as an applied step in the Query Settings window. Now I can already see here under the applied steps that I have a source, navigation, and change type. There are already 3 steps applied. And I can see that whenever I click on all 3 of the tables. Power Query will automatically detect the data source when you choose to transform the data. Now, it also automatically detects the data type. That's why it says change type here. So, what we can do with Power Query is we can modify these tables with the applied steps that we make. And once we hit close and apply, all of these applied steps will happen in our Power BI report. And we'll have access to any columns we've created, modified, and the data sets we've cleaned up. The Home tab has some pretty nice things in there. If you need to close and apply this from here, you can do that directly from Home. If you need to add in additional sources and use Power Query to clean and transform the data, you can bring in more sources. We are using an Excel workbook, but I know these are very common data sources that you can pull in. Keep in mind, under More, you'll see the full list. I can also refresh the query in case there's any changes made to it. That's usually for data sources that are more dynamic. And then I get a set of tools in the Home tab that are commonly used to clean and transform the data. Now, these applied steps are actually showing up as a script that's being created. So if I click on my Home tab here and I go to the Query command group, I would like to mention that there's something called the Advanced Editor. And what this does is it opens up the applied steps, fully listed script here. And anytime I add in a new step, I'll see it show up in this script. It might be best to save a copy of this somewhere if you need it later. So what I want to do next here is if I go over to the Transform tab, I can see that there's a command group called Table. Some of these tools were found inside the Home tab. I have certain tools to group datasets, group rows in this table based on selected values in the column. Whether or not I want to use the first row as header to transpose, reverse rows, even count the rows that I have available. I have an any column command group that allows me to rename, detect data types, change the data types of the column that I have selected, fill the cell values of any empty neighboring cells. I can unpivot data if it's already been pivoted for me here. I can move around columns to different positions in the table. A lot of tools to transform the data in here. And then on the text column here, I have an option to split data based off special values. Very similar to text to columns in Excel. I can choose the data types, or character casing, I should say, for text. There's even trim and clean available there. I can extract certain lengths, characters, ranges from text of the selected column. I have a number column command group as well. I have statistical tools, standard math operation tools, and I have scientific operations. If I have a date and time column selected, I can see the date and time column options are available. And from here, I can also run scripts if I need to, like a R script or a Python script. You do need to have Python or R installed on your device in order to have these scripts work effectively. Under Add Columns, I have the option to choose columns from example, which is very similar to Flash Fill. I can create custom columns. I can use a custom function defined for each row of this table, or apply conditional formatting. If I need an index column, I can create one, whether it starts from 0 or 1 or a custom column. I can duplicate columns, and I can see some text tools, number tools, date and time tools that we've seen before in the Transform tab are available. If I click on the View tab here, I can see there's an option for query settings in the formula bar. If you turn this off, you no longer will see the formula bar. Turn it back on, it will appear. If you turn off the query settings, you no longer will see that on the right-hand side either. Turn it on to appear. Then here on the data preview, you can have it show white space, display preview content using monospaced font. See how it changes the font? You can show the column distribution, 5 distinct, 3 unique. The column profile. Great tools to learn about your data. And then again, I can see the advanced editor from here if I need to. I can also choose to select a column from here. I can also just select them from the headers. And then from here, I can view a dependency tree of the queries. I can see they're all coming from one data source here. If I were to click on the Tools tab, I have Diagnose Steps. I can diagnose and go step by step in the query steps. I can start a diagnostic session, stop a diagnostic sessions, and then set up diagnostic session options. If I click on Help here, there's some guided learning, documentation, training videos, even a Power BI blog, community, samples that you can view. A nice little tour of our Power Query window. We'll be making some transformations next. One common cleaning task that we have to do with our data, I'm looking at the T sales here at Power Query, is you want to make sure that there's no duplicate values. Now, I kept the table small for our sample exercises, but as you can see here, I have some duplicate values based off the sales IDs. And if I click on this little table icon here, I can see that there's an option to remove duplicates. You'll also notice that inside the Home tab, you'll find that in the Home tab, under Reduce Rows, when you click on the drop-down, you also have Remove Duplicates. I also have other tools for removing rows, like removing the top rows. Select how many rows you want to remove from the top. Remove how many rows from the bottom. Or alternating rows. If you have to remove a repeated row every 50 lines or every 10 lines. I can also remove the blank rows, remove the error rows. I'm going to go ahead and remove the duplicates here. Now keep in mind, on the alternative side, I also have keep top rows, keep bottom rows, keep ranges of rows, keep duplicates as well. Kind of like the opposite of the remove rows options. I'm going to choose remove duplicates from here. Or here, it doesn't really matter. As you can see, some of these options are still there. And looks like it cleaned up the table there. I can see that under remove duplicates, or under my applied steps, I should say, there's a new step called remove duplicates. If I go over to my advanced editor as well, I can see they've added in a new step called remove duplicates as well. While I'm on the T sales here, I also want to make sure that the total sales are in currency format here. Another thing I want to consider is filtering the data. I want to ignore any quantity sales that are less than 5 items, including the number 5. So I just want to keep the 10, 8, 7, and 6. So if it's less than 5, I have this option to number filter greater than. As you can see, this data set has a filtered column. So if I were to hit close and apply in the Home tab, this data would come in without the filtered column now. If I go back over to my table view from Power Query, for Power BI, let's let the data load. I can see just the values that I brought in. I'm going to go back over to the Power Query window again. And if you don't need that step, you can always remove it. I'm going to go ahead and remove it now that we've seen that. I also have an option to replace values from the Home tab. I can look for a value and replace it with a specific one, although this data set doesn't require that, the T sales data set. If I go over to T products here, I can see the product ID, which is also found inside of T sales, occurs only once for each product. Looks like there's 4 different products we're selling, widget A, B, C, and D. And there's 2 different categories they can be in. And then here I'm going to set the price And I'm going to change the data type again to a fixed decimal number. It's saying that because this step was the last step that happened, I'm just going to replace the current step. And if I go over to T customers here, I can see the 3 columns that are available, and it looks like nothing needs to be changed here. All right, I think it's time to close and apply this, and let's take a look at the data model we've put together so far. Now, if I head over to the model view, I can see that we have the data sets already connected, the product ID and T products, (101, 102, 103, and 104, these 4 products, can all be found in the customer table, sometimes even duplicate occurrences of them. Product ID to product ID. Let me go ahead and see that there. I'm going to go back to the table view and go over to T sales. There's 101, 102, 103, 101 again, and then 104. They have the same products that are being sold in this table. So the relationship is that there's many occurrences of a product being sold, but there's only one occurrence of the price of the product and the product name and the category it belongs to. And the same thing with our customer information. You have customer ID in the customer table. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. Those customer IDs are found in the T sales table. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1001, 1004. So Power BI automatically will detect the data types for you, and it will automatically establish relationships of imported tables. So let me just go over to this File tab really quick, and I'm going to go down to the bottom where it says Options and Settings. And under the options here, there is this option that you might have to turn on if yours has not automatically detected the relationships. Under Data Load, I have an option to auto-detect new relationships after the data is loaded. And once you load that in, you can go ahead and hit OK. And now that I have the data loaded in and auto-detected, I can see that it's already connected them. But let's just say they weren't. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to get this one and delete this. You can grab the primary key from this column and connect them. When I let go of this, it will automatically detect the one side and the many side. See, I'm dropping customer ID to customer ID. From here to here. From product ID to product ID. Now, I want to go over to the report view, and I just really want to quickly show you something here, or better yet, I'll just go over to the table view to show it to you since it's a small table. There's only 5 dates, January 1st through 5th. This means we can't filter by date ranges. Well, there will be, but it's just going to be for the month of January in 2024. I think what's best, if you're going to work with dates, to put together a table that has the dates that span across the model. So this data model, it needs one more piece here where I want to get the dates and list them in this table. So that way I have the full year of dates in the model. And I might even extract like specific things from the date, like the month name, the year. So what I'm going to do is I need to add to this model here, this data model. I'm going to go over to the model view, and from the home tab here, I'm going to choose to create a new table. And for this table, I'm going to call it the calendar. And I'm going to set that equal to. There's a data analysis expression, a DAX expression, called calendar auto. Calendar auto returns a table with one column of dates calculated from the model automatically. So it's going to look at that column of dates that we have. It's going to realize it's from January 1st, 2024. Calendar auto is going to be a function that will create a list of calendars, dates, that span across the dates model. So I will see a full year for 2024 here with the calendar auto function. Let me go over to the table view so I can see the date table and see what column it just produced. From January 1st, 2024 to January 31st, 2024, 366 rows. Every single day of the year that spans across the model. Luckily, my model is just going to use these first 5. If I go back to the model view, though, this table that I have, this table that I just created, I think it's best. Let me go back to the table view one more time. I'm going to mark this one as the date table. The calendar, I'm going to mark it as the date table. To mark as a date table, to enable the creation of a date-related visual, tables, and quick measures using this table's date data, mark it as a date table. Keep in mind any built-in date tables that are associated with this table will be removed. Visuals or DAX expressions referring to them may break. Luckily, we don't have anything yet. There's only one column we've created. Looks like it's validated that. I'll click Save. And I'm going to go back over to the model view here. I can see that it's acknowledged the fact that this column is my date. But I still think it's best to connect these dates with the dates in the sales so it knows to filter correctly. There'll be one occurrence of every date in the calendar, which potential there isn't, but potential multiple occurrences of a date in the T sales table. Date to date. One second here. I'm also noticing the data type. Or the date table here. I'm going to go ahead and set it to a short date. So it looks like we don't need to connect the date table with the date model because it already acknowledges the fact that they're connected and that this is the calendar table and that filtering will come across from here. Although if I didn't mark it as the date table, I would still have to connect it here. Let me go back over to my table view because now that I have this table created, I would like to add in a few extra columns that I can use in my model. I'm going to select New Column. Another DAX expression that I can use is the month function. This column I'll call month number, but I'll extract the month itself from the date table that I created. I have to give it the table name first, and then the column name I can select from the list with the tab key. I can see here, I can choose the data type. I'm going to go ahead and leave this as a whole number. This date column is date and time right now. I'm going to switch it to date as well. Cool. I'm going to add in a new column, and I'm going to call it month name. And I'm going to pass it the format function in DAX. And I want to format the calendar date specifically to a fully listed month name. And in the online DAX support reference guide, you'll know that there's 4 lowercase m's that will show the full date for DAX. I'm going to close out the format function here and hit enter. Now for sorting to work correctly, I'm going to get the month name, and I'm going to tell Power BI to use the month number column to sort this column. So January is equal to month, February is equal to 2. My final new column that I can add, I'm going to call it year. And I'm going to use the year function in DAX. And I'm going to pull the calendar date year portion. And now I have a full calendar table available for me. If I go back to my report view, I can see that the calendar is readily available for me in the list of tables that I have in my data model. This is found inside the data pane. To wrap up part 1 of our 3-part series, we've covered the Power BI interface, and we've learned about the key components. We've learned about connecting to various data sources and how to transform and clean data using the Power Query editor. Last, we went over and created a data model, understood the relationships between the tables, created and managed additional relationships between the tables by putting together a calendar and marking it as the calendar. In our next video series, we'll be talking about data visualization and reporting. We'll do a quick recap of so far of what we have together. We'll do an introduction to data visualization, cover creating basic visuals to advanced visuals to designing interactive reports. This will lead us into session 3, advanced analysis and sharing insights, which we'll do a quick recap of 2, learn about DAX calculations besides the date and time ones, do data insight and forecasting using AI features, and then wrap up our lesson plan by learning about the publishing and sharing options that we have available with Power BI.
Thanks for watching. To earn certificates and watch our courses without ads, check out LearnitAnytime.com.